think we're good. I think it came up all right. Here we go. Take 2 or take 3 or whatever it was. Here we go again. So yeah, now we are going to cover the top 10 games of the decade. So 2011 to 2020, we're gonna have 5 minutes. Each of the participants, video games experts that we've brought into this panel today. And we'll share our list, and as soon as we mention the games, and we can discuss and scrutinize each other's list. But we're starting from number 10. So who's going to start us off?
Why don't you start off, Albert?
All right, so I'll start it off with mine. So again, the criteria is going to be you must have played the game in order to list it as your top 10. There are a bunch of games that I did not play this decade that I know are going to be considered one of the best games of all time. But starting with the ones that I played, at number 10 is Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I enjoyed that game a lot. Obviously, definitely has the all the elements of an Assassin's Creed game, but with the added that it was, you know, pirates, ships, and the Caribbean. So I mean, that mix right there made the game really enjoyable. The story was really good, and I really enjoyed the you know, going into Cuba, for example, Jamaica, and all these other traveling around the Caribbean in an Assassin's Creed world. So that is my number 10.
Did you play the DLC for that game where you play as Adewale?
I don't think I got to play the DLC. No.
It's really good, really good. You go around and you free slaves from the islands, and you form your own pirate crew that's a bunch of slaves. It's pretty cool.
Oh man, no, I need to maybe go back and check that out.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'll go next. My number 10 is a game I just played recently, about a month ago actually, and it came out in 2013, I think. It's called Catherine, but it's the one I played had all the DLC with it, so it's called Catherine Full Body. Basically, the game was made by Atlas. I'm not sure if you guys know what company Atlas is, but they made all the Persona games, the Shin Megami Tensei games, very big JRPG company. And they made one called Catherine, which is more or less, it's kind of like a life simulator, except you're playing as this guy named Vincent, and the person who voices him is Troy Baker, so that's pretty cool. You know, he did Joel in The Last of Us. He's played Joker a few times. Really good voice actor. And basically, you're like, he cheated on his girlfriend, and with another woman who's not what she seems to be. She's like a demon or something. And it's really cool to see the story play out, because in the town he lives in, there's a bunch of murders that are going on in people's sleep, and it's just very mysterious. So yeah, it's kind of like you're just playing through the life of Vincent and trying to figure out what the heck's going on right now in this town. And the reason I put it at my number 10 is because the storytelling in that game is phenomenal. I've never played, like, I love anime, and this game actually made me feel like I was watching an anime, and I was very into it. And there's so many different outcomes. All the cutscenes are, you know, drawn like anime, and yeah, it's a really good game.
What's it called? Catherine?
Catherine Full Body. It's a really good game. It takes like about 15 hours to beat, like 10 to 15 hours, but there's multiple endings. And basically, you know, the guy Vincent's going through like a midlife crisis. You know, he has this one girl, his girlfriend he's been dating for 4 years, who's very, like, she keeps him in his place. She makes sure that she makes sure that he doesn't do anything stupid. Basically puts a lot of rules on him. And then there's this other girl he meets who is makes him feel free, and like kind of more seductive and kind of sketchy. And then they added in the full body version, they added a third girl in the game. But yeah, it's a really cool game.
Oh dang! All right.
Number 10.
Oh shit! Hang on. All right. So who's up next?
I guess I'll go. My number 10. I struggled to find 10 games because I really haven't played that much in the last decade. So my number 10 is Fortnite. I hate to say it, but I think it deserves a place on the list because of how much I play it. I think replayability wise, it's good because there's just something about it that'll always make you like come back to it, whether it be the skins or like the new map or new challenges or whatever. It does have a replayability aspect, and I think as far as like playing with friends and playing with like family, I think it really changes the dynamic of the game. It's still super frustrating. There's still a lot of things that like Fortnite just sucks at, but I think for those reasons it still deserves a spot on my list at least. So that's why it's my number 10.
Okay. Yeah. No. I think I agree to a degree with. I was super hesitant to start playing Fortnite, as you know, Debbie. And then you kind of peer pressured me into playing Fortnite, and that's right. But you're right. Like we have so much fun though. And yeah, we play with our family and stuff, so it makes it really a really cool experience. So yeah, that's a good one.
It brings the worst out of me. What the heck?
Builders.
I hate builders. Like freaking fight me, coward. But
Yeah.
you know.
It really does.
I think it brings the worst out of all of us. I think. God, I've never dropped so many F-bombs in a row in a while.
They're well deserved.
That's right. Good. Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree totally.
So
You disagree,
I guess it's
Josh?
my turn now.
As far as Fortnite, I don't know. To me, I feel like okay, well, Epic does a lot of sketchy things in general. So I don't really like them as a company, but you know, their game has made a huge impact on a lot of people in the world, and I don't recall a game ever doing that. Maybe like League of Legends, but other than that, I don't like Overwatch maybe, but nothing to the extent of what Fortnite done. But all right, Mark.
Plus, you got a lot of good memes from it too. So.
Oh yeah, you got Kratos singing with a very falsetto voice, so it's pretty cool.
All right, guess it's my turn now. So my my number 10 video game of the decade would be Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2 is a pretty good game from the Call of Duty franchise. You know, like the first one was good. The second one was actually it had a pretty good campaign wise. Like I like the whole dynamic of it as it's in the future, but it's kind of like future like 10 years down the line. Like it's one of those like a whole bunch of drones, but like you kind of see that how now there's a lot of drones coming in and stuff like that, where the technology, so you kind of get to see that a bit more into the future. So that made the campaign pretty good. Also the fact like you play as like the son of the main protagonist from the first one too, so that's pretty good. The multiplayer was really amazing. Like I loved playing that multiplayer like growing up and just playing with my friends and just being able to play, and also having bots, because back then I didn't play online as much, except maybe like cooperative play. But whenever we'd play, like we'd have bots on it. And also Black Ops Zombies was pretty hard, honestly, but yeah, it was pretty good though. Like one of the best experiences I've had.
Yeah, the Zombies was the best zombies out of any Black Ops game. It was really good.
Huh. I think I might have played Black Ops 2. I'm not sure if I did.
It's a great game. It's the last good Call of Duty.
Yeah, but when did it release? Do we know?
What was it? Maybe 20.
Maybe it was 2012. I can search it up real quick.
I think it was 2012.
Oh, yeah, 2012. Yep.
Yep, 2012. Great game.
Yeah, then that's the one I played. That's probably the last Call of Duty that I played. Then yeah,
That's the last good one.
don't
taint. Don't taint the name.
After that, it went downhill pretty much. I mean,
Because then we got
kind of debatable it goes, but
we got Black Ops 3, and that was a dumpster fire.
and 4.
Nice. Well, that's good. Okay. All right. So number 10. There's some diverse titles here.
Yeah.
For the last 10. So time's up. It seems like. Let me reset the timer, and I think we can now go with our number 9. So I started last time. I think Mark, you can start it off. Your number 9.
So number 9 probably might be a shock to you guys. GTA 5. Put that as my number 9.
Number 9?
Wait.
You just started playing
Yeah.
it too.
I mean, I played it a little bit when it came out. I didn't have it, like the actual copy. I went to like a friend's house and he had a copy, and we were like, let's play, GTA 5. I'm like, okay. It hasn't, like, I didn't really play much of the campaign at the time, but now since I just got back into it, like the online is actually pretty great. Like a lot of like things you could do, obviously, like different like heists and just like bounty hunting missions, and you can fly jets, buy a whole bunch of weapons and stuff. Like
the online is a game of its own.
It's very, very like free roam, and you can basically do whatever you want at that point in the game. So it's pretty great. Like, I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think that one will be in some higher lists probably.
Yeah.
But it's in Mark's top 10, so that's that's good. I haven't played it.
It's a really good game.
Yeah, no, I know it's definitely listed as. I think Metacritic has it like as the greatest game of all time.
Yeah.
All right, who's next?
Debby?
I'll go. My number 9 is Beat Saber. It was really the game that made me want to buy an Oculus VR headset. So, yeah, I think it's just a great game. So cool the way that they set up the levels with some really well-known songs. So, yeah, it's good.
I agree. That's an amazing
I also like
game.
the whole. I like how it's like kind of like those lightsabers.
Yeah.
Big Star Wars fan.
It's like music and lightsabers. Like it's awesome.
Also gives you a good workout. Not gonna lie.
For sure.
A lot of time. You're just...
And it's cool that you can play with your friends too.
Yeah, we'll need to play them. Albert, you need to get an Oculus Quest too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can all play Beat Saber.
We'll peer pressure you into that too.
All right, I guess you will peer pressure me into that.
It's only $3.99. You know?
It's
Yeah.
$2.99.
$2.99.
Well,
$2.99.
Well,
Beat Saber is?
Yeah.
No,
No, the headset.
Oculus itself.
Oh.
This is $299. Yeah. So I'll go next. My number 9 game is a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I would have put it higher, but there's just so many other games that have impacted me more. But Super Smash Bros. Is one of the biggest games ever made. Has it has the most video game crossovers in any game ever. What's it called? Yeah, it's just, who would have thought you would be playing as Donkey Kong beating a Banjo-Kazooie? Like, as a kid, I would have never thought that would be possible. Or playing or getting playing Kirby and getting stabbed by Sephiroth. I mean, the game's crazy, and it's a timeless game. You can always pick it up. You can always play with anyone you want and just have fun. It's a party game. It's a competitive game. It's one of the biggest fighting games ever made with the most characters. I mean, I can play as Snake fighting like Mario. It's insane. It's a lot of fun. I've been playing Super Smash Bros. since Melee, and I'll probably be playing it whenever I'll always be playing this game whenever they make more games. And we get 3 more characters coming out soon. So that's going to be pretty interesting.
So this one that you're talking about, Ultimate, this is the one with Sephiroth in it then?
Yeah, this has Sephiroth in it, and it's awesome. He's badass. You can play as Sephiroth fighting Dr. Mario.
Or Pac-Man versus like
or Pac-Man. Sonic. Yeah, it's insane. It's a great game.
And it's on the Switch.
Yeah, it's on the Switch, yeah. Sephiroth is DLC. He just came out about a week ago. And he's really cool.
Man. Yeah, I don't think I played a little bit of Smash Bros. When it first, or Super Smash Bros. When it first came out. Was it for the GameCube? Did it first come
64.
out? For the... 64. Yeah. I think I might have played the GameCube version.
Yeah, Melee. Yeah.
But that was it. Yeah.
It's a great game.
Right. Good. Well, I guess it's my turn again. And my number 9 is NBA 2K12. 2K12.
Oh my goodness.
NBA 2K12, and I have a reason for saying NBA 2K12 because I want to utilize this opportunity to go off at the NBA 2K franchise, because they've definitely messed it up the last few games. Actually, the last, I don't know, 3-4 games, I think. They've just been terrible. Playing experiences, they're doing the same thing over and over again. They're just using it as a cash cow right now. So it's just not enjoyable anymore. The amount of grinding that you have to do, like if you're playing my player, the amount of grinding that you have to do in this game to get a decent player, it's like you have to play only that game. Like 12 hours a day to be decent, unless you want to, and so you're pretty much forced to pay extra money. So that is my number 9.
Nice.
Sports games aren't real games. I'm just kidding.
I'm kidding.
I only did it for that reason, to all of them.
No, I know. NBA is probably the best sports title there is for sports titles, because who the hell plays Madden? Alright, I'll start off with number 8. Alright. My number 8 game is Job Simulator. So the reason why I played Job Simulator is because VR is becoming very advanced now. Virtual reality gaming. That's going to be what is revolutionary to our gaming generation, is VR. Just like how the Nintendo 64 was revolutionary to in the 90s. The virtual reality gaming is out of this world, and I put Job Simulator on there because that was the first game, in my opinion, that did virtual reality right, where you can interact with every object, you can do crazy stupid shit, and it's just dumb fun that never grows old. Like, I can pick it up today and play and have a very fun time. Virtual reality gaming is it has a long way to go, but where we're at right now is really cool. Then that's why I put Job Simulator on that, because that's the best virtual reality game I can think of right now.
All right, yeah, I can't speak much on the VR version or on the VR side of things, but maybe something to look for
Get a Quest 2. Get an Oculus Quest 2. You're what's it called? You're missing out on a whole platform of gaming with virtual reality. Like, I convinced Marc and I convinced Debby and I convinced all my friends to get virtual reality headsets, and they all love it. So you definitely got to pick one out when you find one, because it's insane what you can do in virtual reality. Like, I was playing VR chat with one of my buddies, and we can literally just go to a house, go sit on a couch together and watch anime together, and he's dressed up as Sephiroth and I'm Barrett. Like, it's funny.
Yeah, nice. That's the best thing about VR is all the games and potential, like VR
Yeah.
chat.
And that's why I
You can
put Drive
socialize people.
Simulator.
And it's like you're
Alright.
actually there.
Nice.
Okay, I'll go next.
All right.
My number 8 is shockingly Animal Crossing.
Which one?
New Horizons. So I kicked and screamed because I didn't want to play this game, and everyone and their mom was playing this game
At my house.
at the height of COVID in March. So I got the game, and
You got it like a day after I bought it.
600 hours later, I just had to give it a place because I did invest so much time and effort into like building my entire island that I feel a personal attachment now to this game because I fought so hard for like all of my villagers, and I spent days on a stupid freaking layout of my island. So like I think it's a great game, and I think it came out at the right time because everybody was quarantined, and like you could play with your friends and you could just pretend that things were okay when things were really not okay. So for that reason, I put Animal Crossing as my number 8.
It was a pretty nice game when it came out, but obviously my issue that made me like not enjoy as much is that Joy-Con drift.
Yeah, well, you should pick it up again.
But it was nice how that game came out. That one and like Doom Eternal both came out at the same time. It's like their birthday, I guess. But it's good that both games came out and they made a really big impact on society when everyone was locked up inside.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go anywhere else, so might as well just play Animal Crossing.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Well, my number 8 is Red Dead Redemption 2. So I played some of that. I didn't play it all the way through, but enough to recognize that it was definitely an awesome game. It's just the open world. It's just so much. One of the reason why it's 8 and it's not lower, it's because there's just too many little intricacies with this game. Like you have to eat, at certain diet and exercise and all these different things. I can't do all that to keep up with it, so I think that's a little bit too much. But if they eliminate that aspect, it definitely would have been higher.
The campaign is amazing in that game. Like the characters are so memorable. It's not a Rockstar game, so that's what they're known for, is making great campaigns.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, that was a really good game.
Alright, so my number 8, number 8 is Star Wars Battlefront 2, the last one that came out, not the old one, even though it's pretty good. I just really enjoyed the multiplayer, how you could revisit the old, like I really like the Clone Wars era. You could just be literally whole armies of like the clones just fighting against like the droids, and then there's like the Jedis, and you get to play as like Obi-Wan, or you can play as Grievous, and it was pretty fun. Like honestly, I really enjoy that giant, just full-on scale like battle that's going on instead of like typical like shooter games where it's just like 8 people on each team. No, this is like 40-50 people just all charging in, and it's a giant war. And it kind of makes it feel, it gives you that like revisiting like that Star Wars feeling from like watching the films where they're like having those really big giant battles between like the Empire and the Rebels, or the clones and the droids. Like it's really enjoyable and very fun to like get into and engaging.
That game wasn't like that when it first came out, right?
Really?
The game was trash when it first came out. When the game first came out, you had to unlock every single character, customization, and everything. And they allowed you to basically... There was microtransactions that allowed you to buy, like, skills. So you pay to win. And they got so much backlash for that they had to take that out of the game. It's a good game now, but when it came out back in, I think it was like 2018 or 19, I think it's 2018, it was a really bad game. Very bad game. But now it's come a long way. It's a great game.
All right.
All right. And
Well,
that's everyone's number 8, right?
Yep. We are now starting number 7.
Number 7.
So Debbie, no, it's who went first last time? I don't remember.
I think it was Josh.
Oh, so
No,
Debbie, no?
Oh, did I?
Hmm?
Yeah, I did.
Josh won.
All right. My number 7 surprised me too. It's actually Borderlands 2. Another game I really was hesitant to play. But now that I'm in it, I really do enjoy all of the characters. I love the multiplayer aspect. I love that you can like go through the campaign with your friends and like hop in at any time. I don't think there's another game that really has that feature. So I think it's really unique in that. The characters are funny. The story is intriguing, and it's very hard for me to like stay with the story because I'm so like I just don't like when it gets like really like they go in a lot of different directions. So yeah, Borderlands 2 is definitely a great game.
Yeah, I love that game.
Yeah, I love that game too. That's way lower on my list.
Yeah.
But definitely agree.
Yeah, me too.
So I just real quick to intersect. I think Josh, you may need to mute. I'm not sure if you have to mute your mic when Debbie's talking because it might pick up. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That's what might be causing it, but yeah, no, Borderlands 2, solid option. I love that game too for so many different reasons. Just the storyline, probably one of the best games ever made. But I'm sure we'll be talking more about Borderlands 2 in this podcast. All right. So Mark, what's your number 7?
I'll go.
Mark. Go
My
ahead.
number 7 is Titanfall 2. Now this,
All right.
I really enjoy Titanfall 2 because it's not like it's kind of like Call of Duty, but not quite. Where you have like those set in the future, and you have these like giant robots that like shoot out from the sky, and you could just like basically they like go inside. Like you go inside them, and you can like control them, and you're basically it's just very militaristic, and it's very like the storyline is pretty nice. Like I really enjoy that, like the bond where the main player, the pilot, Jack Cooper is his name is, has with his Titan, which is BT-7274. Like it's like he's a giant robot, but he kind of has a personality of his own. He kind of like protects the player, so it makes it kind of gives like that bond of like friendship, even though it's a man and a robot, and you guys go through like different challenges and different like obstacles and fighting more giant robots. And overall the campaign is just really amazing, and the multiplayer is also pretty cool. Like you get to like run across walls, and you have like different abilities where you can like turn invisible and just come up from behind someone and just like stab them in their back, while like summoning a giant robot that can just like come down from the sky and just crush down. And each of the Titans have like their own abilities or different weapons. Like one of them can have like shoot missiles from its back, and then the other one can like pull a giant sword and just literally just like slash the other Titan. And it's just overall just an amazing game. Like I got like the deluxe edition, and just I got the helmet just because just how cool the game was.
Awesome. Yeah, I've played Titanfall 2, and it almost made it to my list as well. So I really enjoy that game.
I'll go next. My number 7 game is God of War for the PS4. The reason why I put that on my top 10 is because I was amazed that they took a character who was so far gone from his humanity, and just he was a very evil character in his original games, like extremely evil. He killed all the gods and destroyed the world evil. And they brought him back and gave him humanity and gave him morals and made him realize he doesn't want to be that person anymore. And he is such the story is with him, about him and his new son that he had in this land. And it's just, I've never seen a game capture such a father and son relationship before as well as God of War did. And that's why I put it at number 7.
Yeah, I love that game too. All the reasons that you mentioned, the gameplay was amazing, the graphics were amazing. Even for being a PlayStation 4, it's just beautiful. Like the landscape. Yeah, that's way lower on my list, but yeah, that game is awesome. Did any one of you, Debbie or Mark, did y'all play that game?
I haven't, but I will.
Oh man,
I've seen gameplay though.
Amazing.
Gameplay looks nice.
Amazing game. All right, for mine, I'll have to go with Diablo 3 for number 7. Just really enjoyed playing that game with friends. Hack and slash, and there's so many different things that you can do in that game. But you never really get tired of playing it. Like, you just keep going through the story with different characters and different. So once, if you go through the game once, you can go at it again at a harder level and get even more stuff, and they just keep adding loot and things to get. So Diablo 3, my number 7. Oh,
I guess that's everyone's number 7s, right?
that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, let me see if I can add it here on the screen. Diablo 3. There we go. All right, the time's up, and now we gotta go with 6.
All right. Albert, I guess you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first on this one. My number 6. Oh man, and this one I wanted to put a lot lower because probably the game that I played the most this decade was Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn, but also with the expansions as well. The expansions actually just made the game better. This was a game that initially it wasn't what people thought it would be. Like, it really was terrible to begin with at launch. It was really bad, and then I guess they hired a new team, they hired a new director, and it made the game so much better. Then it's just an awesome MMO. I know it competes with World of Warcraft. I'm pretty sure they're like, the top 2 MMOs out there, but just being a Final Fantasy fan my whole life, being in the Final Fantasy world as a MMO, it's amazing, and the soundtrack is amazing. The character build, the storyline, for me, this decade, this game was probably one of the, it's not the best game because I have to remain neutral and be judicious in my ranking, but yeah, I love that game. So 6 for me is Final Fantasy XIV.
Guess I'll go next.
Yeah, go ahead.
My number 6 is Borderlands 2. I know we talked about that one the last number, but Borderlands 2 is overall really amazing. Like, I really enjoyed the whole cartoony aspect about it, where it's a shooter game, but it's very, very comical, very cartoony. Like, a lot of the enemies, they make me laugh when I'm just playing, and just the different skills, like, abilities each of the players have as an individual. The multiplayer co-op, where you're just going through the campaign, kind of reminds me of going back to the old, like, Halo days when we'd play, like, Halo 3 campaign, and you're just playing with your buddies, and you're just completing a campaign, but you guys are doing it together. Kind of builds that, friendship bond, and playing with family is good too. Also, like, it's amazing characters, like Claptrap. I have to tell him out. It just always makes me laugh all the time. Like, I really enjoy Claptrap, even though a lot of people hate him apparently. But overall, Borderlands 2, like, I just started getting into it actually, and I've had a lot of, like, friends who would always say, hey, Borderlands 2 is great and stuff, and getting into it, I'm like, wow, I can understand why a lot of people were telling me to play it back then, because it's overall just an awesome game. For the record, though, Handsome Jack is the best character in Borderlands 2. By far.
He's the best. He's the best villain in any video game.
That's right. Yeah, the best. Well, Sephiroth, but yeah.
Yeah. Mark, I'll go next just because Mark, my number 6 is Borderlands 2 as well. Pretty much for the same reasons you say, except the DLC in Borderlands 2 is one of the most amazing parts about that game because it almost feels like a complete, full new game. Especially Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep. It's like all about Dungeons and Dragons and medieval stuff, and it's awesome. And like, you know, I know you just started playing it and we haven't beaten it yet together, but once you get to the end, you know, you get to replay the game again, except you're level 30 when you replay it, and then you can go all the way up to level 50 and then level 66 and then like level 77, and you keep getting skills to build your character higher and higher and stronger, so eventually you'll be doing like, you know, 100,000 damage every shot. It's insane. It's a really cool game. I love the story it's created. This is where the Borderlands series peaked, was at the second game, because the pre-sequel is fun, and Borderlands 3 is but 2 is definitely the best in the franchise, and Handsome Jack is one of the best villains ever written in video game history. Like he has, what's it called, he follows the hero's journey kind of concept, especially with pre-sequel. Just a very well-written character.
Agree with everything.
Mm-hmm.
My number 6 is Phasmophobia. This one was also very surprising. I'm not really into like horror games or anything of that type, but it's such a different type of like scary game. I guess there's no like jump scares or like cheap, you know, like horror type-ish games. Like it's literally just like investigating a house, and like your friends and who you're playing with really do make or break the experience of the game, which I think is interesting too. But I just think it's so funny, and just an overall great game. So that's my number 6.
Awesome.
Yeah, Phasmophobia is I really enjoy Phasmophobia because like I used to watch a lot of those like ghost hunter like TV shows where people would go into houses and then use like the ghost techniques, and then actually playing it in VR, it's kind of like, wow, you're actually there, but you know the ghost could kill you. Yeah. But even still, like sometimes you have like your courage, like yeah, you know, like you feel that sense of fearlessness, and you're like, yeah, face the ghost. But just like the game where your sanity starts dropping, well, yeah, sometimes, not gonna lie, my sanity does kind of feel like it starts dropping.
I think it's interesting because like it wasn't supposed to be like funny, but like it is funny when you try to insult these ghosts and then they come after you. So I just think overall it's just so well made, and the fact that it's still in a beta for me is promising, because like who knows what the game will actually look like when it's full and when it's done. And so I'm very much looking forward to what we'll see in the future, but so far I am very impressed with the game. So
yeah, it's
just
good.
How realistic it is too, like that that also gets it to me. Like you're using actual like ghost hunting techniques, actual equipment, and you're kind of doing your research, and you gotta like determine what kind of ghost it is. Kind of uses actual like facts and states that people would claim when they're actually doing those like ghost huntings, and it's just amazing. Just like you're actually there and you're like, whoa, like okay, it's like a specter based on like the evidence. So it's kind of like, you know, you're solving a mystery, except it's kind of more kind of scary at the aspect, but not too like horrifying like if it were like a horror movie or anything. It's kind of like fearing the unknown, more or less.
I really like it. Really like that game as well. I enjoy playing it with you guys for sure. All right, so we are to the best 5 games of this decade. That's where we are. So let's see who. I think I went first last time.
Yeah, you did.
I can go ahead if you want.
Go ahead, yeah.
My number 5 has to be Wolfenstein 2. Like I first played like the original one, the New Order. Like it's such a great campaign where you're following BJ Blazkowicz. You know, he's a man. He's kind of has sort of a similar story to Captain America in a sense, but like he's just like a man that he just was fighting Nazis in World War II, and he wakes up and just the Nazis just took over the world. It's an alternate reality, and he's just like angry about it, and he just goes on in a giant killing spree trying to, you know, stop the regime. So it's very like, I like the aspect about how it's like an alternate timeline of history where like how supposedly like the Nazis won, but here they're like everyone's afraid of them, but there comes this guy who's not afraid of them and is just fighting off, dual wielding guns, going blazing glory. And in New Colossus is just amazing because they take it to the United States, and you actually go to like New York, and you go to like Louisiana, and you're just traveling, or like I think Nevada is one of them, or no, New Roswell. And it's just, and there's interesting characters that are helping, and you're just leading the resistance and trying to fight for freedom from tyranny. Just overall, just an amazing story.
I agree. It was a really good game.
Nice.
For my number 5, I put Dark Souls 3. I love the Souls series, and usually people would think Dark Souls 3 is the weakest of the franchise, but this was the first Souls game I played, and because the Souls games aren't really easy, they really are. They're meant for more experienced gamers that like a challenge, and not everyone likes to wants a challenge when they play a game. That's what, and Dark Souls 3 is the easiest one out of all the Souls games. I've played them all, and they're all amazing. The new one, Demon Souls for the PS5, is one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen. But the reason why I put Dark Souls 3 is that this game allowed me to get into the Souls universe because it was, more beginner friendly, and it's still hard. Like, it is still a really hard game, but out of all the Souls games, it's the easiest to get into. The universe, what's his name? I think his name is Miyaga. I forgot the creator of the game's name, but the universe this man created it's filled with lore and adventure and like demons and monsters, and it's just so interesting because the lore isn't it isn't explained to you through cutscenes. If you want to learn about the universe of the game, you actually have to pick up items and read the description of the items to figure out what's going on in the world. Like, you pick up a sword and it'll tell you exactly who wielded the sword, who was the man who wielded the sword, and how he died. Like, it is a very in-depth game with storytelling, but you have to be paying attention to all the fine details about this game because, like I said, it doesn't tell you everything like at all. You could play the whole game and not know what the hell's going on, like, if you're not paying attention. That's kind of why I like it, is because I love when developers put detail in their games where you actually need to pay attention to what's going on in the universe. Yeah, Dark Souls 3 is a great game. I recommend anyone who wants to get in the Souls universe to play that game first.
Awesome, yeah. I might consider playing it because I started with Bloodborne. And that's the hardest game in the universe. That was so damn hard. I was getting upset. I'm gonna return this game. It's just too damn hard.
It is. That is one of the hardest. That is I think they just released a new one like a year ago called Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. That's the hardest game in the Souls universe. Bloodborne is the second hardest game in the Souls universe.
Yeah, but it seemed nice and very interesting. So I might, if you think Dark Souls 3 is probably one of, not that it's easy, but manageable.
It's really good for, and also it's one of the most, what's it called? The animations and the fighting is so advanced compared to Dark Souls 1 and 2, because in Dark Souls 1 and 2 it's literally just slash slash slash. In Dark Souls 3 you're like doing like acrobatics and shit, like doing flips, and it's pretty cool.
Nice. Good. All right, who Debbie?
Yeah, my number 5 is Pokemon Sword and Shield. I really, really, really enjoyed this game. Obviously growing up playing Pokemon, you get very used to that two-dimensional sort of turn-based game, but for the first time, Pokemon became almost open world like. The wild areas were just so cool to like see the Pokemon actually like interact in the way that they should be interacting. Like if they're flying Pokemon, then you're gonna see them in the air. Those water Pokemon are in the water and they attack you if you're trying to like. It was just insane to me to see Pokemon for the first time in their natural habitat and doing what they should be doing as Pokemon. The story was also pretty good. It was interesting that it was in London as opposed to where it usually would be. So I just think it was a lot of fun to play a Pokemon game that felt like a completely new game to me in that sense. So Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Awesome. Is it on the Switch as well?
On the Switch, yep.
Okay.
The Pokemon Sword and Shield, I really enjoyed it too. Especially since I grew up also watching a lot of the anime. Like you obviously know, like I watched the cartoons, and just playing the game kind of felt like you were kind of like playing like the actual like the show itself.
Yeah.
You could see the cutscenes and the interactions, like you were saying. Especially like in the last DLC at the Island of Armor, where they allowed you to walk around with your
Pokemon. Yeah.
And that just brings me back to when Soul and Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out, and you were able to do that, and just how much like
it's such a small thing to add to the game, but like it really does make a difference because like the Pokemon you see, like Ash always had Pikachu with him, and like Misty always had Togepi. So like to have your own Pokemon outside of their ball, and like you could ride on Charmander or on Charizard, and so like that's such a cool thing to have in a game, and I don't know why they don't have it in every single Pokemon game moving forward, but definitely a lot of fun. So
also the I also enjoyed the I guess like the challenges that you have, not the challenges, whenever you fought at that giant dome at the end.
Oh yeah.
You get to refight like the gym leaders, and it kind of felt like those actual like Pokemon gym battles where you're actually fighting, and
yeah,
like
the massive stadiums. Yeah.
There's like people
awesome.
watching the TV screen.
Yeah.
Pokemon goes Gigamax, which was actually pretty cool. First I was pretty skeptical about it, but after like trying out for the first time, you know, seeing your starter Pokemon just like turn giant to like humongous, and you're literally destroying the other person's Pokemon with like a giant like tidal wave. I'm like, what? This is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
And it's amazing. Definitely a good game.
See, that's already 3 Switch games that you know, well, 2 I think mentioned Super Smash Bros. And what was this one? Pokemon Sword and Shield. Oh, Catherine.
Pokemon Sword and Shield, and
well, Borderlands 2 is on the Switch now too.
Wolfenstein 2 also is on Switch.
Yeah, Wolfenstein is on the Switch.
Alright, so I don't know. That might be Switch is making a case. My number 5 for this decade is Mass Effect 2. So Mass Effect 2 is just an amazing freaking game. I enjoyed playing that game. At the time that I was playing it, I was so conflicted. Like, this might be the best game I've ever played. It was just an amazing story, and the concept, just the overall Mass Effect concept. But in 2, it really kicked things off. Like, number 1 was okay. It was a decent game. It was okay. But Mass Effect 2 was revolutionary. Definitely revolutionary type. The whole game is just amazing. So if you've never played Mass Effect 2, that's definitely a game to play. Thoroughly enjoyed.
Could you play the 2 before play? Like, if you didn't want to play 1 at all, it's okay to play 2?
I think so. Yeah. You don't need to play Mass Effect 1.
Because like every time I want to get into it, like I just don't want to start with 1 because 1 just seems very, very, very dated.
It is. I didn't enjoy it as much. It was just super hyped at the time. When I played it, I didn't enjoy it that much. But when I got into 2, I was like, whoa. But I didn't really... It kind of allows you, like, when you first start the game, I believe that you can carry over the stuff that happened from Mass Effect 1. It's an option, or you can just say, well, it doesn't matter. And even me playing 1, I chose not to carry the stuff over from 1 to 2. So I just started clean for Mass Effect 2. Yeah, cool. That's my 5. And all right, let's try to stick to this time. I just been starting it pretty late, I think. time. I forget to start the timer.
I think we should cut it here because we're at 5.
Well, I messaged and I said I was going to be late, so I think we can race to the finish.
Okay, cool.
Just so that we can finish it, because I know that the tension is rising now, like as we get to number 4. So, all right.
Start off, Albert, with number 4.
All right, hang on. Let me lower that. So my number 4, it's Borderlands 2. And I know we've already all kind of said Borderlands 2 for all the different reasons, and it's just amazing that it even made it to all of our list, because it's that type of game that may even be considered as one of the greatest games of all time. Just the lore, the storyline, the villain, the characters, how it even makes references to pop culture, different pop culture. Like there's one scene about a double rainbow, and I know like it was a big thing at one time, and then they touch on that double rainbow, but what does it mean?
Full on. Perfect double rainbow all the way. What does this mean? Full on.
Just little nuggets like that they throw throughout, that they sprinkle throughout the entire game to make the experience that much more enjoyable. It's just not enough that I can say really about that game. So I'm kind of sad that it's only 4, but these last 4 games are just that great. So
yeah, I agree. I'll go next. My number 4 is Super Mario Odyssey. Came out in 2017. I'd put Mario's my favorite game character in any game kind of gaming. He was a part of my childhood. One of the first Mario games I played was Super Mario Sunshine on the GameCube, and I love that game. I put Odyssey as number 4 though, because this game really made me feel like I was a kid again, and no game has ever done that before. The game made me feel like I was playing Super Mario 64 or Super Mario Sunshine, because the people who made this game made those games, and it was just amazing. The colors, the worlds you can visit as Mario, and it's just there's the references they make to past games is insane. Like there's this one level where you go through a 2D section as Mario, and it's like the 8-bit looking Mario, and you're fighting 8-bit Donkey Kong, and like from the video game Donkey Kong in the arcades. And it was just so cool to see that, and I'm just like, wow, they really put so much detail into this Mario game, and I recommend that game to anyone who's ever played 64 or any 3D Mario game. Odyssey is the best one. Another Switch game.
For sure, a good game. For someone who's not as much of a Mario fan as Josh, I enjoyed it a lot. It was more open world, and Mario is usually that 2D like side scroller, so for the first time you could really do a lot more with Mario, and I think they really showcased how much potential Mario has when he's not constricted to that 2D side scroller. So great game.
Awesome.
Yep. I'll go. My number 4 is Kingdom Hearts 3. It's not a lot of people's favorites, but for me, who waited so long for this game to come out, I think it was exactly the game it needed to be. And it's like people were just so upset about like the Disney worlds and like all of that taking away from the main story, but that's what the game has always been. You go to these different Disney worlds and you enjoy them, and then you get to the end, and the ending wasn't what I thought it would be, but it does open up the possibility for other adventures, so I won't say much without spoiling. So yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 made me feel like a kid again playing on my PS2, and that to me means more than anything in the world. So yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3, definitely my top 5. So
Nice. I haven't played it, but I'm a fan of the Kingdom Hearts series
Yeah.
for sure.
So my top 4 is Subnautica. Subnautica is such an amazing game, especially since like I've always liked the ocean, like seeing the fishes and like just being underwater, and it's all about scuba diving, but you're in it's in the future, and you like crash land on an alien world, and you're just, the whole environment is just so like beautiful. Like you start out on this reef, and it's like these different kinds of fish that are like alien fish, but there's just like so much detail to it, and you just start out as like the only survivor, and you're just like, oh, I'm just in the middle of the open ocean, and obviously you gotta like craft, and there's so many crafting abilities in it, like build your own underwater home and like live there while you're trying to survive. And of course there's its own dangers, like obviously there's some predatory creatures, and although it's kind of like it's a survival, and it's very like you get to explore the different like biomes, and there's like a kelp forest, or you might go down to some caves, and as you go deeper and deeper there's like more threats, and obviously there's those big giant reaper leviathans that always pop out of nowhere and give me a jump scare sometimes. But it's very amazing just exploring the open ocean. You keep going deeper and deeper, and as you're exploring you're trying to figure out like, oh, there's like an actual story to it, kind of like how in Dark Souls, how there's like a lore into it, but you don't see it based on, like, you don't learn about it through cutscene. You just kind of it just pops up to you like as you're playing, and you're just like, oh, that's interesting, and then there's a whole mystery behind it, and you're just exploring, and the deeper you go, the more things you uncover, and you get to build more, like you get to build your own like giant submarine, and you get to even build like a mech suit sort of, and there's just, it's all about exploring and just trying to find the way to get out while also exploring the environment that's around you. And just overall, just beautiful game. Just always, every time I play it, it just brings me back. It's like Avatar, and just like how Pandora is, but underwater. It's just amazing. Just every time I play it.
Great.
It's a good game.
All right. Now we're jumping into the top 3
Top 3
of the decade.
We all might have some similar ones for this one.
I don't know.
So who's going first?
I'll go first. My number 3 is Breath of the Wild. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Everyone's heard about this game. Everyone knows how great this game is. It won Game of the Year in 2017. It is a phenomenal game, and the physics are amazing. The fact that you can just go anywhere you want on the map whenever. You can go straight to the boss as Naked Link if you want to and try to fight him. Like it's insane what you can do in that game, and it's, I mean, they're making a sequel because this is an amazing game, and we all want to know more about the universe. They made a prequel. I mean, this Legend of Zelda is the first Legend of Zelda to ever get 2 direct like games about the same Link and Zelda. So it's going to be it's just an amazing game, you know. And if you haven't played it, that is a must play at some point in your life.
Also a Switch game.
Shit.
That is true. I love Switch games.
God damn it. Seems like I'm gonna have to get this damn system.
I'll go next. My number 3 is Skyrim. Skyrim was so much fun. I mean, I really don't have a lot to say. Like, I just felt like so empty after I finished playing Skyrim that I couldn't find another game to play that was like Skyrim. That was very frustrating for me because Skyrim is so very much like Breath of the Wild in that there's so much that you can do. There's so many different possibilities, and I know a lot of people like replay it on all the different platforms that it came out on and make different characters, because the experience is just, it can be so very different every time you play it. And I think any game that offers that is just amazing. So yeah, my number 3 is Skyrim.
Ditto on a lot of things that you just said there with Skyrim. Skyrim is gonna come up for me as well soon. Who is it? My turn, maybe?
Yeah.
All right, I'll go. My number 3 is Witcher 3. So Witcher 3, just freaking amazing game. Another beautiful game. So big, rich and very rich in storyline. I mean, it was so freaking good that I even picked up the books. I started reading the books for The Witcher. For the, you know, whatever events happened before, and then the TV show came out for Netflix,
Yeah.
and I was watching that too. Yeah, I like the show. That was really good. And again, it just
Also on the Switch.
what is? Oh no, but I don't need the Switch to watch the show or play the game.
No.
I'm just saying, like, Switch exclusives. But yeah, no, Witcher 3. And just the gameplay, the things that you could do within the game as well. Just very open, like, not a lot of boundaries with that game. It's just, I don't know, it's just great. So Witcher 3, my number 3.
My number 3 is Doom 2016. So this is actually the first Doom game I played, because like obviously the original one came out 1996, and that was first person shooter, revolutionary. It's the father of all first person shooter. Like, no other shooter game would have existed if Doom existed. So I never played the original one till after I played the 2016. It was kind of like a reboot, but like it had its own kind of like a still part of the timeline in a sense. And just overall the gameplay is just amazing. Like, you're literally, I guess it kind of like makes a joke around the, like, most other games where like there's like cutscenes and, you know, the character has dialogue. Well, in Doom, literally your player is like mute. He doesn't have hardly any cutscenes, and he immediately grabs weapons and starts killing demons. And it's very sci-fi, but yet you're fighting, you know, like the hordes of hell. Yet you have like a chainsaw and kind of like that modern aspect to it. And just overall, just a great game. Just, you feel like an unstoppable force instead of like most other games where like you know, obviously you're fighting monsters and your player kind of still kind of fears them. But in Doom, you're literally just fighting them off, just non-stop action around the corner, like every single, like at the moment I picked up the game and like the moment I completed it, just great bosses, just great combat. And I just overall just love the different ways and different weapons and different techniques you can basically destroy the enemy. Like, you have all your weapons with you, but like I guess each player has their own preferences. Like, I'll play with like the double barrel shotgun, but some people might use like the rocket launcher all the time. And it's just overall great soundtrack also by Mick Gordon. Just amazing.
All right, well,
Nice.
top 2.
Top 2.
Let's go. Mark.
Oh, you want me to go?
Yeah.
Okay, so my top 2 is the Master Chief Collection, because it's just so I've
Because they didn't
always
come
been,
out they didn't come out in the last decade. You want the collection.
yeah, it's the whole collection. I mean, even though all the games that are in it
came out in the early 2000s.
last, yeah,
Sure, we'll count. We'll count it.
Yeah,
That's funny.
but Master Chief Collection, it just has all those old games, and just like from like 2001 all the way to like 10 and like Halo 4 and all that. It's
Halo
just
2 anniversary.
Halo 2, yeah, I guess that's the new thing that they added to it, where they got the original, like the old graphics from like the original Xbox from like Halo 2, and with the flip of a button, like it would immediately remaster, like the cutscenes literally look like you're watching like a movie. And I'm just like so like shocked, because I first played, like the first Halo game I played was Halo 2. So just watching the same cutscenes I played as a kid, just rewatching them but in higher like 4K, like high definition, just like just so amazing, and just the gameplay is so great. Like multiplayer, you have all the Halo games with you basically. So if you want to play Halo 3, you could just with a click, just go to a lobby, play online, play Halo Reach. Like you can go back and forth without turning on your old Xbox 360. And just overall, I'd just put it as number 2 because Halo's always been like my childhood, and just the soundtrack from the original games were just beautiful, and just I'm able to relive those old experiences from like when I played the original Halos back when they came out last decade. Like I could replay them now and still have that same feeling, like nostalgia feeling to it. So overall, that's why it's my number 2.
Yeah, you never played the online either, so playing the online's new for you.
I played like the co-op though, but the online is just seeing other people play it. It's
a great game, and the fact you can get every single Halo game for $40 is a really good deal.
It's a great deal too.
Yeah, really good deal.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think they're counting some other games. Like I know they're remaking a lot of these Final Fantasy games, like Final Fantasy 12, Zodiac Age, and stuff like that. They may count as games since they've been remastered for this decade. So. My number 2, it's already been mentioned. Actually, my last 2 have already been mentioned, but my number 2 is God of War. Yeah, God of War is an amazing game. The connection that you have with the characters, and like Josh, like you said earlier about how they humanized Kratos, was great.
Yeah.
Just giving him that responsibility to take care of this kid, of Atreus, and then you get that connection with Atreus as well. Because you want him to do well, and then you kind of want him to know that he's, well, I shouldn't be spoiling things, so you want him to know things. And just that debate, right? That parental is like they put Kratos and trying to make these parental decisions, what's best for Atreus and all that. It's just crazy that you wouldn't imagine Kratos being put in that position in God of War, in the previous God of Wars.
Well, yeah. It's because, like, in the previous God of Wars, Kratos had nothing to lose at all. Like,
right.
He went full out murderous in the previous God of Wars, but now he actually has something to lose. There's stakes now in this new game where, Kratos has a reason, to protect his son.
Absolutely. Yep. So.
It's a great game.
Yep. But my number 2.
Yeah. My number 2 is Skyrim. Another game without explanation. The game is revolutionary to RPGs. It's one of the only games that actually makes you feel like your decisions matter and that you can actually do literally whatever you want. You can get married, have a family, build a house. Like it's insane the amount of stuff that you're able to do. And what's also really interesting about the game is there's certain decisions you can make that you would have never thought you would have been able to make. For instance, you guys, have you played Skyrim, Albert?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
The Dark Brotherhood mission?
Around, you'll notice my guests. I've collected them from, well, that's not really important. The here and now. That's what matters. You see, there's a contract out on one of them, and that person can't leave this room alive. But, which one? Go on. See if you can figure it out.
I do.
Remember when Astrid, you fall asleep in that bed and you wake up and Astrid has you in the room and tells you to kill 3 people. Or kill one of the 3 people.
Right.
Remember that?
Yep.
So she said one person in this room has committed a crime that's horrible and deserves to be punished for it. And then she said, I give you have to pick the person to kill. And this was the second time I was playing through this, and I'm like, I don't think anyone in this cabin did anything bad. So what I did instead, she said one person in this room did something horrible, so I killed her. And when I killed her, as she died, she said, "Good choice," and then she died. And then a new mission started. It was titled "Hunting the Brotherhood."
Yeah. Yeah, I did that too. Wow, I killed her too.
I'm like, that is absolutely insane. Like, they don't, like, you would have never thought to have killed her. Like, it was insane.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was awesome. Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, Skyrim. I got a lot more to say on Skyrim, but Debbie.
My number 2 is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Assassin's Creed, the entire lineup has always been my favorite set of games to play because I am such a history buff. So it's always been so interesting to see history playing out in real time. But Cassandra was not the first female protagonist of an Assassin's Creed game, but the one that was for the PS Vita, I think, and so a lot of people didn't even get the chance to play that game. But it was so cool to finally be able to play a girl female assassin, and it was her game, and it was her story, and ancient Greece is just fucking phenomenal. The game is just beautiful, and the fact that you get to play all these or fight against some of all of the well-known myths of ancient Greece, you get to go and you get to meet Hades, and it's just overall the game was so, for me, well done and beautiful, and I could replay it over and over and over again. So for that reason, it's my number 2.
Awesome. I gotta play it. I bought it. I have to play it.
Yeah.
So.
It's amazing.
Cool.
The combat's really nice too.
The combat changed so much. It was so hard for me to play Origins, and I was very excited to play Origins because I love ancient Egypt. It's probably one of my favorite time periods. But I couldn't get into the story and I couldn't get into the combat. But Odyssey really changed so much for Assassin's Creed. I used to think that Assassin's Creed 3 was my favorite game, but after playing Odyssey, I could never go back to playing the old Assassin's Creed games. It's just too hard. So, yeah.
Mark, is it your turn?
What? Oh, I already said my number 2.
Oh,
Yeah, I think we're down for number 1.
Oh, are we done? Oh, okay, so
who wants the honor?
It's all number 1. Albert?
All right. Number 1. I guess I can go first.
Yeah, go first.
Since we all know and we've all mentioned this game already, Skyrim is my number 1 of this decade. And while I was playing it, I was like, holy shit, this game is really, really freaking good. I was texting all my friends this is the game, this is the greatest game of all time. It's not. I still reserve that spot for Final Fantasy 7, but Skyrim is a close second. Yeah, no, I had so much fun playing this game. You could have restarted it a million times. Also, just to start it differently. Maybe you want to play as the Stormcloaks, or you want to play as the Imperials. Or even that early decision could be significant, because then from there you can kind of see where your path is going to go, what you're going to do. Although I did want to start as the Stormcloaks. I always wanted to start with the Revolution, but I wasn't really a fan of them Stormcloaks. Then after I got closer,
they're racist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that kind of you try to go to Imperial, but also you don't want to be part of an empire like that.
No, yeah.
In a game like that, so it was, but still, even that type of decision at the beginning could be game changing. So,
oh yeah,
it's a great game. So Skyrim is my number 1 of this last decade.
You can play it on the Switch as well.
You can play on everything, actually. Skyrim.
Yeah, you can play Skyrim on the Alexa, so you can play on a fridge.
yeah, you can play Skyrim on everything. Yeah.
Mark, you wanted to go next?
Sure, I'll go next. So my number 1 is Doom Eternal, sequel to Doom 2016. I mean, they came a long way from the 2016 one, because the 2016 one you kind of you start out, you just grab guns and you're just killing everything. But now in Eternal they kind of broadened it, because the first one obviously you were on Mars and you had to stop the portal from the demons coming from hell. Well, now they kind of expanded the universe like in a bigger scale, where you're on Earth and then you visit other planets and go back to like Mars. You go and you get to go to like the heavens, and there's more lore to it. And obviously, like some of it's revealed in the cutscenes, and some of it is obviously you could read it through codex entries that you can find through the campaign. But like there's like a bigger like meaning to it, and like kind of explaining more about who is your character. Like obviously the Doom guy, like the original character from the first 1996 game, but they kind of explained his story a bit more in depth as you learn about him, and the reason why he's like so angry and why he's like killing all the demons and why they're all afraid of him. Like they kind of explain that more. And in this one overall, like the combat is a lot more challenging. Like this game is really challenging, where they modified the enemies, where some enemies have like advantages and disadvantages. So like some enemies you have to like, there's like certain ways to kill them. Like there's certain like pinpoint spots to disable the enemy, and there's bosses that are just overwhelmingly like challenging, quote unquote marauders. I hate them so bad, but there's just it's a lot more challenges, and you're more equipped with like a grenade launcher on your shoulder. Like they made your character a lot more badass. But even though you're very hardcore, very like basically like a hunter, there's more enemies that are just as equally challenging as you, and it relies skills and like kind of tactics in a way to stop the enemy instead of just like simply just shooting him until he dies. And overall, the DLC, they just did part 1. Still haven't beat it, even though it came out in October, because they just made it like 10 times more challenging. But overall, that is such a great game. Just if you really like combat and just action, just every single moment, I recommend Doom Eternal. And once again, of course, the soundtrack, of course, is very metal.
My number 1 game of the decade is GTA 5. Mostly because Rockstar has created they created such a community with GTA where, you know, it's some of, you know, a lot of it's toxic, but you know, the game is just huge. Like you spend, you know, now you spend, you know, $5 for GTA 5, but even back when it was $60, you spent $60 and you got one huge game with a beautiful campaign, amazing actors, endless amount of fun in that game. And then about a month later, after GTA 5 released, or a few months later, they released online for free. And GTA Online is a complete different game of itself. You get to make your character. You get to become a CEO of your company. You can become the leader of a motorcycle club. You can, you know, go on heists. You can go to strip clubs. You can go to arcades. You can do anything in that game. You can go to a convenience store, buy some cigarettes or some alcohol, then rob them right after you buy it. Like the game is. It's absolutely insane, and the fact that they keep adding content. The game came out in 2013, and they keep adding content. Like they just added one of the biggest expansions they've ever done for free about like 2 weeks ago, and it's insane. You can own your own submarine. You can drive it around the island, and you can do anything in that game. They have flying DeLoreans, they got flying motorcycles, they got cars that drive underwater, James Bond cars. It is one of the best games I have ever played in my life. But it is not the best game I ever played in my life. But it is the best game of the last decade in my opinion.
Nice. Yeah, I gotta play it still also. So Debbie, take us home.
My number 1 was already mentioned. It is Breath of the Wild. Twilight Princess will always be my favorite Zelda game, but Breath of the Wild really did an amazing job. Just overall, the game is beautiful. Like Josh said, there's just so much that you can do. If you want to go straight to the boss, you can. There's so much liberty with the game and so many just different ways of going about it, which I really, really enjoy. It has its moments where it's very frustrating, but overall just very rewarding. And the characters themselves, just the way that they're written, I felt like for the first time you could really get to know more about Zelda as a character, as opposed to someone you're just trying to get to and to save. And I really, really like that. I'm very much looking forward to what they do in the next game, if as well as just what the other characters also brought to the table that I had never even like thought twice about, because it's always really been about Link and how he gets to Zelda, and for the first time you're seeing all these other characters and their roles in the story as well. So I thought that was awesome as well. So yeah, Breath of the Wild, my #1 game.
Awesome. Still gotta play it as well. So I need to get a Switch for sure. Well,
Yes.
everyone, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having
us. Thank you.
I think this was fun. We'll have to
About
do
some new games you gotta play.
That's right. I learned about some new games. Hopefully we
of the
can.
games that we mentioned are all on the Switch too. So.
Well, I don't know about 90. I don't know about 90.
Yeah.
No, but I'm talking exclusives, like Switch exclusives.
They got a bunch on there that are really good.
Yeah.
Enough to make it worth buying a Switch.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Well, thanks again. Hopefully we can do this with a different topic soon. But
top games of all time next.
Yeah.
The worst game.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about worst. That's gonna be hard. I don't want to play crappy games. But but yeah, the best game of all time. I think that would be good. The top 10 best of all time. But all right, everyone, have a great night. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And we'll be playing here soon.